Hi.
We're live.
Look, we're
back.
Look how
But
quick
are we
that
on
was,
YouTube?
guys. Josh, currently right now we're on nothing.
Nice.
Here we go. Nope. Now it's saying only Twitter. Now
Only
Facebook.
Twitter. Now Facebook is
Now
coming
Twitch.
in. Now Twitch.
Now YouTube. Wow.
I still have nothing for YouTube on my end.
I just got the notification that we went live on YouTube.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
No.
You sure?
I'm not sure, Josh. I'm not sure of anything anymore. I'm saying, okay, we are, yes, it's saying streaming on YouTube. I'm just not seeing any views yet. All good. Ayo. There we go. See, Josh, you
Nice.
just had no faith. All right.
I did. Sometimes you just need the old reboot, you know? The old,
just
did you
turn
try
it off and turn it back on?
Turning it off and turning it back on?
Well, let's now give some time for people to join this redo here.
Yeah.
Josh, the Penguins needed a redo today.
Ooh, that was good.
Thanks. But you know what also is good? Rogue Energy.
Rogue Energy.
You can go to
Nice.
rogueenergy.com/Pens Collective. Use code TPC10 for 10% off your entire purchase. Josh, did you know Rogue Energy had an app?
I did, actually. I did.
Well, congratulations. Maybe some people don't know that. And you could download the Rogue Energy app on your phone. I think it's Android and Apple Store. So make sure, is it still called, what is it called? The App Store?
the App
The
Store?
Apples, yeah, the App Store. Not Apple Store, the App Store, Josh. So,
Correct. Yes. Okay.
Come on.
It took me a
on.
second, but yeah.
so download the Rogue Energy
It's almost 10
app.
o'clock. Come on.
Josh, who cares? And guess what? Guess what? 30% off your entire purchase. No code necessary on the app exclusively. So make sure you go on the app, you buy what you want, and add code TPC10 for 10% off. Josh, this episode is also brought to you by Louie. Josh, I'm doing a horrible job. Let's try this again.
Again,
Let's, Josh,
we need a reset.
Yeah,
See,
ready?
This is
Josh,
why we
just
do.
say
This is why
go.
we do the soft intro.
Josh, just say go.
Go.
Guys, this episode is brought to you by Louie. If you need customized shirts or jerseys or uniforms for your business, your sports team, or your nonprofit, Louie.com has you covered. All you got to do is give them a call, let them know, hey, this is what I want to do, and they will give you the best price in time. Okay? And they'll work with you, get everything ready, quick turnaround. It's great. They Josh, they've been Josh, say go.
Do you want to just
Josh, just say go.
Okay,
Josh, just say go.
Go.
Louie has been sponsoring this podcast for a long while, and we appreciate their sponsorship as well as Rogue Energy.
Welcome to the show.
Can I stop talking? Yeah.
It's Crosby. Crosby on Trinity shot. Penguins win it.
Buckle up, baby. Are you kidding me?
We're a collective.
What a rough start to that. But holy crap. Well, welcome.
Before we get into it, can we just say welcome back, Brandon?
Yeah.
Where you been, man? Missed you. Haven't seen you in the chat. Hopefully you've still been listening, but I haven't seen you in the chat for a while. Is it because we've been winning? Were you just that upset?
Just didn't want to be a part of it.
I get it.
I
know he was on that. He was on that tank job from the beginning.
Yeah,
Missed you in the chat. Good to see you back. Hope all is well.
Welcome back. Also, happy birthday to. Well, this was yesterday, but did the Pens win?
Was it yesterday or?
It was yesterday, Tuesday. Or no, it was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. It was during the last game. Because
that's right. Happy birthday.
Live chain.
That's right. Happy birthday. But did the Pens win? No. Absolutely not. So, all right. we're going to keep this episode relatively short because there's only two things we're talking about. Actually, Josh, who knows where this conversation will go.
Yeah.
But let's
True.
start off with the negative. Okay? The negative. All right, let's talk about the negative. The Penguins lose to the Buffalo Sabres 7-3. Now,
Yeah.
I got because Josh in the second period. So usually what I do is I'm up here in my office. I will watch the game up here, and I'm live tweeting during this time. Usually at the end of the period, I'll tweet something out, and then I'll head downstairs, whatever I need to do. So that is what I did. I saw there was 30 seconds left or
Yeah, it's
whatever
like 40
it was.
seconds, not even.
Yeah, and I was like, this is going nowhere. It's 6-1 at the time, and I was like, yeah, this is how this period ends. Oh, and all of a sudden, when I get back, Josh, when I get back to my computer, all of a sudden, berated by a text tweet, hey, dummy, they scored on us in the 40 seconds that are left in the second period. So, felt a little embarrassed after that, and I was like, yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens when you just try to tweet it out, Because the broadcast is always behind. So usually I'll get, usually around 30, 40 seconds, I'll get the notification from, the Pens app, end of first, end of second. So I usually know how the period will end. I didn't see it, and I was like, this is how it's going to end. And then, sure enough, that should have been my sign. I didn't see it. I'd be like, oh, something's happening.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Josh, the Penguins stink tonight. This was one of the, here we thought the performance to Tampa Bay was bad. This is just as bad. This one was bad because with Tampa, they're a really good team with a really good goaltender. So you're kind of feeling like, okay, yeah, this is going to be a rough game. And then tonight, it's like, okay, this could be a bad game, or this could be a good game, because honestly, we've had Buffalo's number, okay, and we talked about it last episode. Years, Joshua.
Yeah, Crosby owns Buffalo, so we knew that he was going to break the record today. But at the same time, I was kind of expecting us to kind of manhandle them as well, just because I don't know where they are in the standings, but I don't think they're making the playoffs. I don't think they're in the wild card hunt. So I don't know. It was super depressing. Yeah. And I knew Jari was starting to look like, he's turning back into a pumpkin. For a week and a half, he was looking kind of like, Cinderella,
Wow, what a cut. Good job.
Nice.
I was
Thanks.
like, a pumpkin.
Yeah,
what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Belle of the ball. Jari was.
The ball.
Jari was
what is that
for
from?
a week.
What is?
I don't know.
What is?
But last two games, he's turning back into a pumpkin, and we can't even get Ned to save him. We can't even get Ned in there to stop the bleeding, and he lets in 3-4 himself. So
yeah,
I don't know. This just sucks. I'm just glad Crosby broke the record, and we can just move on, because
which we'll get
doing?
to in a second. I want to save the good stuff for last, Josh, which is only one good thing. But actually, there's two good things. But let's talk about the bad stuff here. So here's what I'm thinking, Josh. There's a lot of thoughts in my brain after this loss. It just proves that the Pittsburgh Penguins are just done. I mean, they've given up. I think that's where they're at. Mike Sullivan was yelling at him yesterday. Tuesday they were yelling at him. And nothing was done. Penguins just have no energy. They're losing. It's bad like that. News came out of Philadelphia, Josh, that they fired John Tortorella. Did Penguins follow suit?
Did they? No, they parted ways.
Not from what Briere said.
Correct, but the sentiment that I was getting is that he wanted to go because he was it last night or the night before said in the post game that I don't think I can coach a team that plays like this.
No, I get that, and I'm
So he
sure.
kind of let himself go.
Sure, but I think the way Daniel Briere, who is the GM of the Flyers, is it Daniel Briere? Sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Said he's been relieved. So he's definitely been fired. It wasn't like a mutual, because otherwise they would have said that. And yeah, it depends on said. I think it was mutual as well. But usually, if it's mutual, the GM won't say I've relieved him of his duties. That's not mutual. That's a firing. So, who was the last time it was mutually parted ways?
Do you think it was one of those things where it's like Briere calls him in and he goes, "Hey, Torts, hey, we're gonna have to let you go," and Torts stands up and says, "You can't let me go. I quit."
Yeah. You know what? That's probably exactly what happened. Actually, it's like you were there, Brett. I bet. He goes, I wasn't even coaching a hockey team. That's how bad you guys were. I'll let myself out. Yeah, you can't fire me. I've been fired all season. This team stinks. Yeah, I don't think it was mutual. I know they kind of phrased it like as the team statement made it seem like it was mutual, and then Briere was like, "Yeah, that dude fired." So. Yeah. Like, what was it? Not Barry Trotz. Who was the guy from after the Caps won the Stanley Cup, and they just couldn't reach a contract extension, and he just left. He dipped. That coach. I don't know if it was Barry Trotz. It was someone, and from the Caps, and they said it was like mutual.
Yeah. It probably was Barry Trotz then.
Oh, that's the first name that came.
The guy who won the Stanley Cup with them, and then is now obviously. I think that's him.
Yeah. So, it was. I think that was a mutual because they were like, yeah, he kind of just bailed on us.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think, a lot of people suggested that was his last straw, all this stuff. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. John Tortorella got fired. It was Barry Trotz. Thank you.
This is why we need you, Brandon.
Yeah, there you go. And then, so he got let go. John Tortorella got let go. Do Penguins follow suit to send a message? Because here we are. Flyers are doing better than us. And they right? I thought they were ahead of us.
No, they're like in the draft order. They're ahead of us. Below us. How do you want to do this?
From 1 to 7, where are they at currently? They're ahead of us. Yeah. I could have swore they were behind us. Anyway, so I think the Penguins might let go Mike Sullivan. This is just, listen, there's no foundation to this claim whatsoever. All I'm saying is, you let John Tortorella go, right? He was the perfect fit for Philadelphia. John Tortorella, known to be that guy, to that rough coaching style, fit for the Broad Street Bullies, So that was perfect for them, and they let him go like that. So,
what
was that after 2 seasons? 1 season? How long has he been there?
I don't know. It feels like it's longer. It feels like it was longer than 2. I think at the very minimum it was 2.
Sure.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
But I understand where you're going with this, but I one thing that I noticed tonight, okay, set the play on the ice aside. I'm just looking at this from the bigger picture. Who was the guy behind the bench in Buffalo?
I forget his name, but he's been there a
I
hot
do
minute.
too. He has won 600 games with the Buffalo Sabres.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Isn't
sorry,
it
if they can
rough?
hold on, if they can hold on to that guy, you're telling me
Lindy.
we can't hold on to Sullivan? I'm
Oh
kind
no,
of back. I'm kind of back on board of keeping Sullivan
here's where I'm
for
at.
the long term.
Oh no, I know, I know what you're saying. It's going to be a Joel Quenneville situation. If I'm being honest, if I was a gambling man, it would probably be like a Joel Quenneville situation with Chicago. He's going to be there forever. So like,
Yeah.
he's going to be there until they forcibly remove him, which is exactly what happened with Joel Quenneville. But I think, yeah, like I just don't know what the Penguins need to do next. There's no let's just say hypothetically, Josh, we bring in Mitch Marner because we've been saying that, and I want to make that come true. And we have this new young AHL roster, that's doing well in Wilkes-Barre. They come up, right, and they kind of blend. Is that enough?
You would.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you would hope.
Yeah,
But
that's
is that
the plan.
enough for Sullivan? That's my point. Like,
I
because
think so.
Yeah, you would hope.
Well,
And that's
because look, Brandon's making a good point here. What was the thing that with the Stanley Cup runs, the Black Aces that Mike Sullivan brought up when he came into Pittsburgh? He brought his guys with him, Rust, Gensel, Kuhnhackl, JSD, Sherry, all those guys.
And why didn't we do this year or last year?
Well, because they're not ready yet. They're not.
At what time do you pull the trigger?
I think it's next year. Because now you have multiple years of them developing in Wilkes-Barre, which was similar to back in 2016-17. So he coached them up in 15-16. He brings them up 16-17. So here we go. 10 years later, this is what we're doing again. Last year was year one. This year is year two. You can kind of, use the parallels of Gensel was a rookie when they called him up. Could be Koivunen, the guy who's leading the team in points this year. So that Gensel, that could be Koivunen, or you can do Murashov, because he's still kind of a year out. So when Gensel had his rookie year in Wilkes-Barre, he wasn't in Pittsburgh yet. He had another year. So I think that next year is the year. And that's why when we talk about Mitch Marner, it's Mitch Marner to solidify the top half to help transition that, to be the bridge of that gap from Crosby, Malkin, Letang to whoever you want to put into the next era. Rucker, Koivunen, Murashov, whoever. So I think it is next year, and that's why last episode I mentioned it, where I don't understand people wanting to tank next year just to have a shot at McKenna when we could actually do something next year if we have the right offseason in terms of just getting one or two, few guys ready to go, bring them in, draft well, maybe trade some draft picks for an NHL ready guy. And
there's definitely going to be trades with the picks, but
yeah, because you're not drafting 30 guys. That's legitimately a full team.
Really quick. First off, let's do some quick math here.
Yeah.
Who do you keep? Let's just really quick run down the line. So you got Crosby, Rust, Raquel. Keeping that first line. That's not going anywhere.
Correct.
Right? Malkin, Tomasino. That's it?
Question mark.
On the second
Yeah.
leg? Yeah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Third line, who do you keep? Do you keep Lizotte? Because I like Lizotte.
I like Lizotte. I'd like to keep him. And then you question mark with Hayes just because of his contract. Sure. I feel like you kind of have to keep him, but also he's good in the face-off, kind of. So, yeah.
But that's my point. So here's my argument to this. I'm all for bringing up the young guns. I'm all for it. We have limited spots.
I think you can almost get 2 lines out of them. Because right there, we just said 7 guys that we would keep. So there, we still have
the top 6, yeah, for sure. Now,
yeah,
the bottom 6. You know what I'm saying? I think.
Yeah. So we have like 5 spots to fill.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Novak. Yep. Also Novak. We like Novak.
Oh yeah, he's hurt. Yeah. That's right.
So Novak for sure. Who else? I know I'm missing someone.
Tomasino,
obviously Sid.
Blake Lizotte, Tommy Novak.
Why am
Raquel.
I blanking right now?
No one. I don't think you're blanking on anyone. It'll just be a matter of if they can move Hayes' contract, which you probably package it with a draft pick. I'm sure you can get rid of it, or if he retires, maybe. I don't know. I know he's older, but I don't think he's that old.
Who's retiring?
And then, what's that?
Who's retiring, supposedly?
No one. I'm just saying Hayes. I'm just saying what to do with his.
That's what I'm asking. Who are you talking
What to do
about?
with his contract? If we can't move him, what do you do with his contract? I don't know. It's tough. He's one of the guys who make too much for what he brings to the table. So then it's just a matter of defense. What do you do with Letang? What do you do with Carlson? What do you do with Graves?
P.O. Joseph.
Yeah, well, he's on an expiring contract, so he'll be gone. You're literally going.
We're obviously keeping Cope. I'm just looking at tonight's roster. You're keeping up Kopanen. You're keeping Tomasino, Lizotte. I don't know about Achari. Heinen probably not. Bemstrom probably not. Well, Bemstrom probably, because if he's part of this young gun.
Bemstrom's on an expiring contract. He's not a young gun anymore. He's 27.
So, it's... Yeah, I mean, listen. I would be pissed. And this is... I don't care. Everyone could talk to a brick wall here. I'd be pissed if we don't do anything in the offseason. Because you guys... No. So, here... Nope. Let me talk.
Sorry.
What you're saying is you're just bringing up Wilkes-Barre. And I'm saying, no. You can't just bring up 5 guys because we're going to go get guys. If you think we're not going to go get guys, you're crazy. You are crazy. So you're telling me Pittsburgh is just going to roll over in the offseason, not get any forward talent because we got it in Wilkes-Barre. That's what you're telling me? No shot. So you're telling me that they are secretly planning to just let all the bottom 6 go so they could call up all 6 Wilkes-Barre guys? That's the dumbest GM move I have ever seen to try to make a Stanley Cup push. That makes no sense. Do that now. Oh no, because we want Wilkes-Barre to win. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was Stanley Cups. So you're telling me we waited to do all this talk now for what? So they can play together in Pittsburgh. It's not like they're doing anything. So that's where I call bullcrap on this idea. We're going to go get guys. People are going to be left out. Maybe they'll be used as trade bait. It's not that thing. And here's Brandon. Hold on. We've already done the go and get guys for 2 years. Is that what you think we've been doing for the last 2 years? You think we've honestly made a push to go get guys?
No, I think he's misunderstanding your go and get guys. I think he's more thinking of getting NHL guys to fill the bottom six, and you're more so talking about getting talent for the top six to push down our current top six to fill in the rest of the roster, correct?
I'm saying wherever it fits, whoever we can go get that would actually help the team. So you're telling me.
So then that does kind of fit what he's saying, because we've done that for 2 years. Like guys with Noel Achari, Blake Lizotte, those kind of guys. So
you're telling me you and Brandon are completely content with making no moves in the offseason and just bringing up 6 Wilkes-Barre guys. That's what you're saying.
No, stop.
McGroarty, Novak, and Hayes.
That's not my list. That's not my list.
Okay. So
okay. So what
would you say?
What I'm saying is, I think you have to go after 1 or 2 big fish. And that's why I was saying Marner. If you want to trade for another guy, that's where I said you use one of the 30 draft picks, and you use, like, not one, but multiple draft picks, and go get another guy. And you literally have what we had for years, a dominant top 6. Dominant top 6.
I agree.
Because you can no longer count on Malkin to carry the second line. So you need someone to carry the second line. You know? I think we keep Raquel, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if we move on from Raquel. So then that opens up a spot. So what I'm saying is, I can see up to 5 guys from Wilkes-Barre coming up, in addition to making 1 or 2 big moves. Now, granted, if we swing and a miss on the big moves, then yes, I agree with you. I think it becomes, again, another, find the right guys type thing again. Nieto was a miss. Achari was a maybe miss.
I'm
know
so on the fence with Achari.
I know. There's games where it's like, oh, I like his play, and then there's other games where it's like, I hate you. So
but he hasn't moved from the 4th line, so I can't hate him. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, I get you. But then it's like, there's guys like Blake Lizotte who kind of has worked, and we made a move for Tomasino, which was, I kind of liked his play. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I can see doing that again, and hopefully what we do fix is the defense and goaltending.
100%. That's what.
And then and then from there, because think about just tonight. Just think about tonight. If we were able to stop 4 goals, how much more of a game would this have been? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I agree. I think you have a point with the goaltending and defense.
Yeah. So that's my thing. Like offense, I feel like you can tinker one of 2 ways. It's not a do or die type situation where it's like, we have to get NHL guys, or we have to just only do Wilkes-Barre guys. I think it could be a nice blend. If we bring up 3 Wilkes-Barre guys, great. And I think that would be awesome.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. I think there's
3 or 4 max.
That's what I'm saying. There's I think there's potential to be up to 5. I'm not saying only do Wilkes-Barre guys. I think in 3 years you're going to see the roster mainly be the Wilkes-Barre guys. But that's inevitable
in every franchise.
Yeah.
No. See, I hate the mentality of, we're just going to embrace Wilkes-Barre next season. I'm like, that's a dumb move.
But those are from a lot of where I'm seeing that is also the people who want McKenna. So the people who want McKenna just want Wilkes-Barre to come up and literally just be
a young
Wilkes-Barre in Pittsburgh, which I brought it up last episode. As long as we have 87 as our captain, he is going to carry us to multiple wins that we were not supposed to win. And there is no shot we're going to end up with McKenna. That's just the nature of the beast. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So then why do that? Why waste a year to try and chase after a top overall pick? Now, granted, this year was horrible, and if we end up in the top 5 in the draft, I mean, it's still kind of top 10. If we
Sure.
finish top 10 in the draft, okay, then you know what? That's just thank you, for the good pick because of a bad season. But
Yeah.
like now we got to start utilizing the youth that we have. What I don't want to become is kind of like San Jose, or Buffalo. They're a good young team. I don't want
They're
to
gonna be like that for 5 years.
exactly.
I don't want that.
Exactly. So that's
Yeah,
why
and
I'm
that's
saying
my fear.
yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying we have old heads now. Let's bring in some medium old guys to help,
Sure.
again, be that bridge, and then have the youth come up in pieces behind them. And then that's how you
Yeah.
literally build the foundation for years.
And I'm okay with that. We agree. I'm
Yeah.
saying what I hate is the mentality of just, well, yeah, let's just bring up these guys. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it's not only Brandon. I see it on Twitter too. I see it on Twitter.
it's
People
all
are like,
over
oh,
Twitter.
yeah, it's all over. It's just like, oh, just can't wait for these young guns to come out. I'm like, guys, you honestly think, now granted, they could have a swing and a home run, but that wasn't even Jake Ensel and Brian Rust year. That was like they
They were
sprinkled
separate.
that.
Yeah, they were separate
Yeah.
years.
And not only that, like Jake came up, he went back down. And then he came up and he was up at the right time. And if you're telling me Jake Ensel and a few of those guys in Wilkes-Barre, like what all those guys, which I can't think off the top of my head.
Sherry.
All I'm saying, Sherry, you got the guy who went to Anaheim after, I forget his name. But anyway, it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is there were some guys that were sprinkled through the season. It wasn't like, okay, here we go, young guns, show me what you got. It was brought up slowly,
but
with
when
a team
he
surrounding.
When he got hired, he brought up like 2 or 3 guys. So he essentially brought up a line. So that's I think that's where we're saying what we're saying, but we're saying it differently. Like you can have a full line of young guys at the NHL level ready to go. And I think one thing that is being missed here is the fact that the full understanding of what people want in terms of young guns. Do we really think the entire roster of Wilkes-Barre is worthy of being called up in a year or two? Like, no. There's probably 10 guys counting off forwards, defense, and goaltenders. Right?
Sure.
Don't you think? Like, there's no, like...
Yeah, I mean...
Because like you got Owen Pickering, who for sure is ready.
Oh yeah,
Joel
he's not going
Blomqvist.
anywhere next year. Yeah, and I don't think Murashov.
No, he's a year
Pittsburgh.
out. He's a year out. He needs a year. He
Yeah.
needs another year, just because we can't rush that. We can't rush that greatness.
Yeah.
And
I
then
agree.
I mean, what do we? Koivunen has been lights out.
Koivunen's
Do
been
you give him
good.
a shot? Yeah, McGroarty. He started the season in Pittsburgh, so maybe he definitely gets a shot next year.
Can I ask you, is McGroarty ready?
He's played a lot
know.
better. He's played a lot better.
Yes, but the AHL is different from the NHL, which we've experienced this season.
100%.
So what I'm saying, I'm not. First of all, I love McGroarty. I want him to be up there, but we're talking about not rushing. Like, I don't know if McGroarty starts next season. Because he's not like he's lighting the lamp in Wilkes-Barre.
That's not his thing, though. That's Koivunen's thing.
Sure, but look at the points. Yes, he's what, top 5 on the team? Because we went over it. It was
McGroarty, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, top 5, but it's mainly assists, which I get. But I don't know. Like, how are we going to fit the system? That's the only thing. I say we go get some guys out in the free agency, like Marner, like other guys that can help this team win now. Remember, it's not about slow and steady anymore. It's full speed ahead, train going, not stopping. How can we get into the playoffs next season? If it's not, Kyle Dubas deserves to be fired. And I know that's such a wild take because your immediate reaction is, but oh my gosh, he helped grow the
No, I know, but wouldn't you want to give him one more year? Wouldn't you want to give him one more year?
3 failed seasons.
What you're calling? See, I'm just calling these 2 years part of the process.
Sure, but he came for Sid.
Yeah,
that was his selling point. That's what he told us, and that's not what he didn't say. We have receipts. He said he talked to 2 people.
Yeah,
Mike Sullivan, Sidney Crosby, and then he took the job. He is here, yes, to help the team grow in Wilkes-Barre and Wheeling, and he's done a good job with that. I'm not saying he hasn't. He has done a great job. He's done a great job accumulating draft picks. He's done a great job doing that. But listen, we all hated Jim Rutherford towards the end of his time because he went all in. And we didn't like that, right? Because he traded away all our future stuff. So we need a happy medium guy. So right now, we have a guy who's only focused on the future. We had a guy, well, Hextall we all hated, so I think that we all can agree that in-between time was who cares? But Jim Rutherford, towards the end of his GM tenure, we started to hate him because he was trading to go all in every single season, right?
and we were like, it wasn't working.
It wasn't working, and we got mad because we were like, whoa, hey, we got nothing. We got no draft picks, all that stuff, right? And we were upset. We all agreed. Then Hextall came, freaking did whatever they did, right?
Yeah.
And that screwed up the whole thing. Kyle Dubas came in and said, hey, guys, I'm going to focus on the future, which we're like, great, cool, dude. You do that. Hey, guys, I'm bringing Erik Karlsson to the Penguins. Whoa, Mr. Big Moves over here. We're trying to win a cup. Yep, that's the plan. I'm trying to do 2 things at once, right? And that's what you said. Kyle Dubas is trying to do 2 things at once. Build the future and go all in. But there's a caveat here. Because if you are building for the future and now you let Sidney Crosby's clock run out, dude, so people aren't going to be happy with that.
This is where I think we disagree because that season with that trade changed everything. So that season, he made the trade because he was doing what he said. He was going to compete for the cup.
Sure.
But watching that season unfold, I think changed his mind. And that's why the Gensel trade happened. And then, right, that's the same season, right?
Say that again for me.
I know you're reading comments. The Karlsson trade at the start of the season was the same season as the Gensel trade, midway.
Yeah, trade was mid-season. Was that the trade deadline?
Yeah, I understand. But was it the same season as the Karlsson trade?
No, Karlsson was
the year before. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if
then
not, wasn't it the off season?
Yes, it was the off season. That's what I'm saying. So the Karlsson trade was in the off season. Yes. Was it the off season leading up to the same season that he traded Gensel?
That I don't think so.
Or was it an entire year where we had Gensel and Karlsson?
I think.
That's where I don't know. But however, the Karlsson trade I think changed things because going through that year where Karlsson wanted to come here so that he can win a cup, I think he saw that unfold that entire season of how we collapsed and wasn't able to make that final push at the end and make the playoffs and said, you know what, this team is not going to be as competitive as we expected. Sure. So then that's why he made the decision to go picks and prospects with the Gensel trade, and then from there on, that's all he was doing. So I think his mindset changed a lot after seeing that trade unfold and how it played out. But that's why I don't think these are failed seasons, because of everything that he's gotten in return. Like the trade tree from Gensel is now so long in terms of draft picks and prospects that there's no way you can count that as a failed trade. And then on top of it, everything that he's done so far this last offseason and this trade deadline has worked out.
Sure.
So I don't see how it's failed seasons other than missing the playoffs.
Okay. So I understand all these points, and they're valid points. But last time I checked, a winning season is going into the playoffs. You don't have ownership apologizing to their players, promising they'll make the playoffs the next year, and they miss. Don't you call that a successful season?
Yeah, I also think that's
we have
ownership.
receipts.
I think that's ownership not understanding.
Josh, they have Liverpool and the Boston Red Sox. They understand.
No,
all I'm saying
meaning they're not tracking the day in, day out.
I get that. That. But the goal is to get Crosby to win the cup. We all agree. That's what this is. So then do that. And if you can't do that, you will have an asterisk next to your name no matter what you do as a GM. Your goal is to get Crosby a cup. That's your goal. And granted, we have a great young farm system right now that can help. But my question is, what happens if they don't?
It would be the same thing as if bringing in Mitch Marner. What if he doesn't help?
That's my point. I mean, we all thought with bringing in Erik Karlsson, he was going to help the power play. And he didn't. Point. Yeah. And that's my point. He makes that splash trade, which he did the same thing in Toronto. He makes a splash trade, doesn't pan out, and now we're back at the drawing board in Pittsburgh. Wilkes-Barre doing a great job. They have some young talent. That's great. And I want to be clear here. I don't think Dubas is a bad GM. I'm just saying if he continues to miss the playoffs, we're going to look back now and go, yeah, I would have done it differently. We're only happy now because we see right in front of our faces. We see right in front of our faces, right? Because we're tanking for this season, right? So that's what we're breaking down. We're going, oh, we got a 5 pick right now, which is great. I'm happy for that top because 10. Top 10. Well, regardless, yeah. Like right now we're at 7. I think it's solidified. I'm not sure. I know there's teams
there
losing.
Movement. We're at 7 though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Regardless, Josh, top 10. Dubas is not a bad GM. He's not. All I'm saying is, while everyone's looking 5 feet in front of us, I'm taking a look down the road. And I want to make sure we're doing the right things to get to the end of the road rather than just take the next 5 steps. So I know you guys are interested in bringing up some guys from Wilkes-Barre. I get it. That's duh. Like, that's what you do. You grow them in farm teams and bring them up. I get it. But let's not forget where we're trying to go, which is Crosby winning a Stanley Cup before he's done. Because that's the goal. And that's what Dubas has said is the goal.
I think you're getting those two things mixed. The cup is for Crosby is right here. Wilkes-Barre and the prospects are in the future because Crosby doesn't have much more time. The prospects, the draft, all of that's down the road.
Sure.
That's Dubas's long-term plan. The short-term plan is to get him a cup. If they coincide, then that's a win-win for everybody. That makes Dubas look like the ultimate GM, and obviously that even further solidifies Crosby's goatness. So
I get that.
Yeah. So
would you disagree? What's the like right now, as of right now? So fine, whether you want to flip it or not. Are we trying to get Crosby a cup, or are we just trying to get young guns?
you every offseason, your goal is to win a Stanley Cup. If you
So hold on.
Hold on. If you're to ask Dubas that every offseason, I'm telling you, he's going to say we're trying to make
We're
our
trying
team
to make the playoffs, right? We're trying to make our team competitive. We heard it for the past
stuff.
3 seasons.
Yes.
You're right. So is it a failed season then if we don't make the playoffs? You're saying, nope, it's not failed because we didn't make the playoffs. Oh, I thought it was to make the playoffs.
No, but the way you're framing it is that, like, when you're stacking these seasons of not making the playoffs, you fire the GM. I don't think you fire the GM for everything else that he was doing. Like, yes, we missed the playoffs for 3 straight years, even though he's been the GM for 2 of them.
Sure.
Okay, so these last 2 off seasons that he's been in control of, you get a 3-time Norris Trophy winner. You get 30 draft picks. You get, young guys who are ready to go in other trades via prospects or, young guys like Tomasino and Tommy Novak. Which one are you weighing more for the GM? Because to me, it's the trades and the signings, not the wins and the losses. The wins and the losses falls on the players and the coach. The coach for the wins and losses.
But here's the thing. Here's what I'm confused about in this whole conversation right now. So you're saying, we got to keep Sullivan. Okay, but all right.
Yeah.
So is it Sullivan's fault or is it Dubas's fault for missing the playoffs? Because someone's got to take accountability. So who is it?
I get it. I understand what you're saying. I get how you're seeing it. But what I'm saying too is that you can have both. Like, I don't understand why you can't have both. Like, I understand what you're saying in terms of, yes, it was a bad season as a team. We missed the playoffs. I get it. But but that shouldn't count as a failed season for Dubas. It's a failed season for the Penguins. Fair.
Sure.
But not a failed season for Dubas. So that's why you're saying that if he doesn't go all in this offseason and misses the playoffs again, then he should be fired. I don't think so.
I think that should be on the hot seat for sure.
That's where I'm lost. He's done all of this great work so far. That's like literally saying after we missed the playoffs in 2020 or whatever, like that's when we should have fired Sullivan. The first year we missed the playoffs. 21?
Because this would be our third straight season.
I'm just so you know, I'm not counting the Montreal thing, the COVID thing. Not counting that. That was not the playoffs.
Made the playoffs.
That's not. I don't care. That's not the playoffs.
All right. That whole season was shortened. I feel bad.
Yeah. But whatever. But what I'm saying is,
sure.
Technically, from there, Sullivan should have been fired every year because he didn't win the cup after 2017.
But here's the thing that gets me mad about Penguins fans, and we've talked about this plenty of times. They pick and choose and cherry when to be upset. They cherry pick, excuse me.
That's fair.
When to be upset. So here's the thing, where I feel like I've been consistent, where I've been like, hey, we need to win. How do we win? Mm-hmm. And everyone goes, well, this is a technicality because we tried. We were so close to the playoffs one year. And then there was another year where we didn't get it. I don't care. Just because you go on a 12-game winning streak randomly to try to make the end, like, you almost seemed like you were trying to get the work done before the hour, before you had a clock out. It doesn't matter. You still didn't do your job. And I feel like that's something that Penguins fans need to realize. I'm not calling for Kyle Dubas' head. I'm just saying, if we lose another playoff, if we miss the playoffs next year, we've had a great roster in Wilkes-Barre. We have an opportunity to be competitive, to get Marner, one of the best, arguably best free agents in the NHL. Say we don't get him. That's a failed opportunity on Kyle Dubas. We have the cap space. We should be trying to win a cup. We should be competitive. If you're content with Wilkes-Barre, that's failed. That's a failing.
Okay,
Because
but you don't know about the negotiations. What if Dubas is
I
literally
understand.
like
But,
whining
okay,
and dining him?
Sure, that's different, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if like he goes and says, "Oh, like we're not going after that opportunity." That's a failed. Obviously, he's.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, if he tries, and it's ultimately up to Marner. So if Marner says no,
Correct.
okay,
Yes.
at least we tried to get Marner. But if he doesn't go and attempt with everything he has to go get Marner in the offseason, that's a mistake. We have the cap. We need someone who's relatively younger, who is a very good player to help guide this team.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not saying we need a superstar, but it just so happens one is available. Okay?
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of connections.
a lot of connections. It makes sense. All I'm saying is he needs to go out and do that. He needs to go out and make ways to help this team win. And I know what you're saying. I know what people are saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you. Yes, he's doing a great job with Wilkes-Barre. But guess what? That's not his responsibility. His responsibility is to win Stanley Cups. And if you don't get Sidney Crosby another Stanley Cup, that's a failing. That is what I'm saying. That is a black mark or whatever the expression is on his resume. It's bad because guess what? That's the whole reason why Sid is staying here in Pittsburgh. That's the reason why he's staying at 8.7 at a competitive salary rate, so that way he can go out and get guys to help him win a Stanley Cup. Because I guarantee you, if Dubas said the honest truth, which is, hey, sorry, Sid, we suck this year. Right? Because every year we miss the playoffs, what do we hear? A story from the GM or the owner of the team themselves saying, we personally apologize to Sid because we know he wants to win a cup and we do too. So we're going to try to do that. So every year that doesn't happen is a failed season, no matter what you do during the season. No matter what you do. So stop pretending not making the playoffs is a positive thing. We are not the Sharks. We are not the Blackhawks. We are not the Ducks. We are the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we have standards. That is the reason why we always make deals. That is the reason why we go about our business the way we do our things, is because we're a different organization than them. Because if we were them, we would be tanking. If we were them, everyone would be gone. We wouldn't have re-signed Malkin and Letang. We would have gotten rid of them. We would have gotten rid of Carlson already. We would have gotten rid of Raquel at the trade deadline. All those things would have screamed bad organization. We are tanking for McKenna or the next guy or whatever. But the fact that we're keeping Raquel, the fact that we're letting people finish their contracts, the fact that we're trying to get people to fit in a program that Sullivan has placed means we're trying to be competitive every year. But we fail at that. That is what I'm saying. You have to take that part. Yes, Dubas is doing a great job with Wilkes-Barre. He's doing a great job with Wheeling. Granted, Murashov, diamond in the rough. We never thought he was going to be this way. We didn't think he was going to be this dominant.
I don't know about that. I think
we knew he was going to be.
I think it was more so the timeline that they were not
I agree,
aware of.
But that's a diamond in the rough. If you think everyone thought he was going to be a guy in the system for a long time, until he was ready.
Well, they didn't say, but what I would have imagined was that they thought he was like a 3-year project, not a 2-year.
I would argue more. More.
Okay. Probably 4 max, because he already
4 or
played
5
in,
years.
Didn't he play in the KHL? So he already has professional hockey
No.
experience. I don't think
and I get that
he's
he's young.
draft pick. Yeah, I don't think he's like a draft pick
But
develop and wait
During
type
the
guy.
training camp, all eyes were on Joel Blomqvist because they were
Correct.
expecting him
Yes.
to play. So what I'm saying is they were unexpectedly surprised by how well Murashov is already developed. That's what I mean by diamond in the rough. Same thing with Brunick. We all thought, oh, he's going to take his time. He's going to
Second
play
round
in.
pick. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's going to take his time. Then he comes in. He's joining Wilkes-Barre soon, and everyone knew like that was going to be his path. It wasn't going to be like, can this dude crack a NHL roster spot? No one thought that going in. Diamond in the rough. So that's what I'm saying. We have guys in the wings waiting, which is great. But Dubas wouldn't expect that to happen. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's now added pressure from Penguins fans now, like, oh, Murashov. I'm like, it's going to be Blomqvist. Like we all know it's Blomqvist. Mm-hmm. Now we joke like, oh, should Blomqvist be worried about Murashov? Murashov's not cracking the NHL roster next year unless we get rid of Ned and Jari and we don't get a veteran presence, which would be a dumb move on Kyle Dubas not to get a veteran guy for Joel Blomqvist so they can do that. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. All I'm saying is people need to understand and read the room. That is what I'm trying to get at. Our goal is to win a Stanley Cup every year, no matter what. That is every team's desire, unless you're the 3 teams I mentioned.
Yeah.
We are not a team to be like that. We are not a rebuild team. Dubas has said it, retooling. We're retooling. We're not rebuilding, because rebuilding would have been getting rid of Raquel. Rebuilding would have been getting rid of everyone.
Yeah.
Would have been dealing Sidney Crosby.
No.
Just to... Well, no, I know, but I'm saying other franchises would have done this.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Because that's a rebuild. We are retooling, which means we are just trying to make slight adjustments to go win a Stanley Cup this year. If Kyle Dubas fails to do that for the next couple of years, that is not good. That is something that we need to look at.
Can I twist something on you? Twist your arm a little bit, if you will.
Josh, yeah, push back.
Okay. What if we have these quote unquote failed seasons for the next 3 to 4 years? Okay. Maybe we make the playoffs a couple times, but no cups. Okay.
Oh, that's different.
3 to 4
playoffs?
years. Yeah. 3 to 4 years.
Different.
Maybe playoffs. We're like fringe. Okay. But every year, when we make the playoffs, it's always first round exit. Okay.
Sure.
So 3-4 years down the road, Dubas is still the GM.
Sure.
5 years from now, we win the cup. Does all of this get wiped away on Dubas's mark? Because you said this would be
without.
A black
Wait, no,
stain.
wait. With Crosby or without? Nope.
We're 5 years down the road. We are without.
So Crosby's
Crosby
out
now. We are long gone.
Yeah, there'll be a bruise there. There'll be a bruise there.
Really?
Oh,
you don't think it wipes it away?
No, because the goal is to get Sid a cup, and if you can't do that, you're not the GM you thought you were. So
I don't know.
No, because we have talent. Talent can win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
of course. Just that's obvious. Talent can win a Stanley Cup, but granted, you could be the worst team, sneak into the playoffs, and go to the Stanley Cup final, i.e., the Florida Panthers when
a couple
2 years ago. Mm-hmm. 2 years ago when they beat us.
For the last spot. Yep, 100%.
They went to the Stanley Cup final. So that's why I'm like, wait, did we make the playoffs? And you're like, fringe. Oh, that's different because we could make a run. So I'll never count. Stanley Cup playoffs are completely different because if you get in, you have a shot to win the Stanley Cup.
Sure, I get that.
That's what I'm saying. A failed season for me is not making the playoffs because that's not a win.
All right,
but if you're saying, hold on, Let's try to make this more definitive for your hypothetical. For the next 4 years or 5 years, we do not make the playoffs. Okay? We just don't. And then on that 5th or 6th year, we win the Stanley Cup without Sid. Yeah, it's a stain.
Wow.
It's a stain. Now, granted, I'll be happy, and, just like every other Penguins fan, I'm not going to be sitting there like, oh, we should have won it with Sid. I'll be happy, but there's going to be, when we look back at this, we're going to be like, ooh, what a missed opportunity that Dubas could not do this for Sid.
I don't know. See, I think his mentality, like I said before, his mentality completely changed when the Carlson trade flopped.
Hold on. Can I just say one thing? Can I say one thing? Because I'm seeing this in the chat. Hold on. Louie, he has 3 Stanley Cups. So then why doesn't he retire? He just beat the record. Why doesn't he retire? Right? That's your mentality. Here's the difference between your mentality and Sidney Crosby's. He wants to win every year. Not just give up because we're work in progress. If Sidney Crosby says, I'm going to sign for a 2-year deal, you better believe at his, it'd be wild if he did. But 800 and was it 875, whatever it is?
I think it's not 950 now, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever. But Sid signed at 8.7. You think he did that just because he's content with 3 cups? No, what did he say on that porch of a random guy's house in Cranberry Township? What did he say? What did he say? He said, the reason why I am taking the minimum I could take is because I want to be competitive. Do you think this statement sits well in Sidney Crosby's mind? And if that's the case, do you think Kyle Dubas is just going, Sid, you have 3 cups, dude. Let the young guns take a run at it. That's an idiotic argument. He has 3 cups. Dude, it's Sidney Crosby. He wants to win. Saying that, oh, he has 3 cups, so let's just be content, is the most, I'm sorry, that you just don't know hockey. Like, you just don't know hockey if your argument is he's content because he has 3. He signed a 2-year deal at $8.7 million to leave room to go get guys like Mitch Marner to go win a Stanley Cup. Oh, and what are the odds that 4 Nations just happened and he's building chemistry with Mitch Marner, and all of a sudden they're probably talking in the locker room like, hey, dude, we could do this all the time. You're telling me that's not going through his head? He signed a 2-year deal extension. He could have retired, but he didn't. He wants to win. And guess what? Josh's prediction, if we get Mitch Marner, will 100% come true. Oh, sign me for a year. 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 Sign me for a year until he gets that cup. Crosby ain't going anywhere until he wins the Stanley Cup. He wants to go out his way, not Kyle Dubas's way. If that's the case, he would have already retired.
I don't think he's hanging on until he wins the cup, because hypothetically, we don't get Marner.
No, I know.
Any of the high guns.
But that's
I think he may be done after.
Well, the goal is that he's re-signing to be like, maybe this is the year we'll get the guys. Yeah, he's not like, all right, guys, I'm signing my 40th contract, please. Yeah, like, I'm 45. For the love of God, can we go win a cup? No, I'm like, he's strategic. Crosby had a milestone contract come to a close. Why didn't he just retire then? If he knew it was, listen, if you don't think Sidney Crosby knows what the future team he's going to play on, he always says it in media. He's a humble dude. He's not going to say, oh, no, I wasn't in the conversation when re-signing Malkin and Letang. Oh, please. I'm sure he was in a group chat with Ron Burkle and Hextall saying, hey, you better get this done. Like, hey, buddy. I guarantee you he's involved. He knows the future of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's probably had meetings with Kyle Dubas. He's had meetings with Mike Sullivan. He is involved. You know why? Because he's Sidney freaking Crosby. You don't bring in a Tom Brady character and not expect him to understand the game plan. You're telling me when the Buccaneers got Tom Brady, they were like, yeah, man, we're just going to see how it goes. No, what did they do, Josh? Did they go all in on it? Well, they already had a team kind of ready to go, but they brought in.
They were already a pretty good team.
Their all in was bringing Tom Brady in. So
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And then getting Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, but that was their all in moment, was to go all in. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So imagine who's the wide receiver for the Buccaneers that's still there?
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
So Sidney Crosby's Mike Evans in this scenario, okay? And he is
comparison.
I know, he's more of a Tom Brady, but stay with me. Stay with me. He's on a team. They're bringing in guys, and he wants to win. And that's it. And he knows. I'm sure they asked, hey, do you mind if we bring Tom Brady? He's like, yeah, that would actually be fantastic. Can you please bring Tom Brady to this team so we can win? Sidney Crosby is aware of the future, as so is Evgeny Malkin and Chris Letang. I think they're well aware. You know, obviously you have dumb reporters asking them, do you want to stay in Pittsburgh for the rest of your career? Yes, I love Pittsburgh. I don't want to go anywhere else. But they already know what their contract is, and they already know. Like, you think Kyle Dubas is just sitting there like, okay, we have a year left on Letang. I'm not going to talk to him about it until then. Now, negotiations is different from talking about it. So negotiations is having the lawyer there, having the agent, which usually are lawyers, and then you just go, okay, this is what we're going to do. Yeah, those are serious talks. But if more of a talk like the end of year, hey, man, how you feeling? Great, cool. You ready to go on a run next year? You know, I'm sure like those are the conversations they have. Do you know what I'm saying? You ready to go? You ready to do this?
It's possible. They don't let us in, so we'd have no idea.
No, I know. I mean, it's all hypothetical. They could be.
I don't
saying,
mean us individually. I just mean like, you know, in terms of like any type of media.
Yeah, we'll never know.
Something.
We'll never know. Anyway, I'm getting on a tangent. All I'm going back to is it's Sidney Crosby. He knows. He didn't sign this 2-year extension to be like, I'm content and I just want to keep on playing. Because he knew he was going to break he knew he was going to break this record this year. Like, he's humble.
I don't know.
But he broke it.
He's a smart guy. He knows injuries can happen at any time. He knows
Josh.
You know, a streak can happen, but
with what, 9 games left to go in the season?
No. No, you're saying that he knew he was breaking this record at the start of the season.
Before he signed the extension.
Yeah, and that's where I disagree with you. Because he understands that anything can happen when you step onto the ice. And I think that he does not count his chickens before they hatch. He does not.
Sure.
That is one thing for sure.
But he did it. And now I'm countering the argument. He has 3 cups. He's content. He could retire at the end of this year if he's super content, but he's not. Because you know why? Because he signed a 2-year contract. He could have signed a 1 year. He could have signed a 1, but he signed 2, which means he knew that maybe it's going to take a year, but he wants to start being competitive. Do you think Sidney Crosby wants to be blown out by the Buffalo Sabres? No.
See how pissed he was
fan.
When he scored his goal?
What do you know how he was pissed in the first period,
pissed,
Josh?
But,
he slammed the door. The first commercial break. When it was 1-0, he slammed the door. He's mad. He wants to win. Guy with 3 cups, you know, according to being content, doesn't slam doors wanting to win. That's more of a Pat Maroon character who's you know, just saying, all right, this is my last year. I'm retiring. He's won 3 cups. But that's the guy who's content. Yeah, with the Lightning. St. Louis. Don't think he was on the Caps, so maybe 2. But wasn't he on the St. Louis Tampa when they went back to back? That's why I thought he got 3. I know he has one in Tampa.
Oh.
At
I didn't
least
know he had
one
one in Tampa. I knew he got one in St. Louis. That was all I knew.
Yeah.
So I could be way off.
Maybe I'm wrong about the Tampa. I could have swore he was in Tampa.
Yeah. I knew he played for Tampa, but I didn't know if he was down there for their cup runs. I don't know enough about Pat Maroon. Not,
Yeah, anyway, that was a bad example.
I don't have...
All I'm saying is...
Listen, I got you.
Listen, Sidney Crosby...
This was a wild episode.
I don't care. Listen. I get defensive because...
Tuesday was you ranting, and tonight was... I don't know, not ranting, but...
No, I think it's just wild to hear people's opinions, especially on Twitter, because Brandon shares the same mentality as a lot of people on Twitter, and I disagree with a lot of people on Twitter, where it's just like, oh, guys, the future's so bright, and I'm like, sure, let's try now. I don't want to wait and become I was gonna say St. Louis because we were talking about Maroon, but San Jose or Chicago or Anaheim. I would jump out a window if I was a fan of one of those teams. I would jump out a window. That's
careful what you wish for.
That is wild.
What again? What if we strike out and in 5 years, let's just say in 4 years,
yeah, but they're
when
Josh,
all of our top
losing.
guys are gone. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but
what happens?
They've had turnover.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
But
so fire
what if
Tubis?
All right, but what I'm saying is, if everything flops, nothing pans out. We don't sign anyone in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
none of these Wilkes-Barre guys, none of these draft picks, nothing pans out. And Dubas is fired, Sullivan is fired. We're now 5 years into the future. We literally have Joe Blow behind the bench and Harry, Dick, and Johnny on the bench, and we don't know our elbow pads from our knee pads.
But you know what? Here's the thing. We were never that desperate, like with how San Jose was selling away Brent Burns, selling away Joe Thornton, and getting into a position where they're at now. We never did that because we're keeping these guys. Anaheim did the same thing, and they basically forced Ryan Getzlaf to retire early, if I remember the rumors correctly, because he wanted, or was that Henrik Lundqvist?
I don't
where
know.
they kind of forced him out because he wanted to keep on playing.
I felt like Lundqvist was pushed out because of
they wanted a rebuild. And Igor was a part of that. And he was like, "Oh, I'm content with being through a rebuild." And they were like, "Yeah, we're not though. Like, we're not content with you." And then he signed with Capitals, and then unfortunately could never play because, was it Capitals?
I don't know.
Because the surgery, but
yeah.
He never got the opportunity, which would have been wild to see Henrik Lundqvist in another uniform. But anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just think it's wild to hear people's perspectives of not wanting to go all in every single year. And I'm not saying like sell our souls to do that. I'm just saying, hey, people should be held accountable if we keep on losing. That's just the way the world works, you know? We say, oh, it's a business at the trade deadline. But at the end of the season, when we haven't made the playoffs in 5 years, we're like, yeah, but the future's coming. It's like, wait, I thought it was a business. If my business is failing 5 years in a row, I need to correct something. So that's my mentality. I think a lot of people just, they kind of miss the mark and they cherry pick on what they want to be mad about. And I'm mad about not winning. So how about we do that? How about we win? How about we stop being complacent and try to win? And that's where I'm going all the way back to the original argument of just saying, well, we're just going to sit and, root on Wilkes-Barre, which we are doing, by the way, and just wait for them to take the next step into Pittsburgh. And I'm kind of like, that doesn't sound right. I feel like we should try a little harder to become a Stanley Cup team. And that's literally the base of my argument. It's like, yeah, like let's root for these Wilkes-Barre guys, and if they make the roster, cool. But I feel like we'd be a little remiss if we didn't go out there and try to get a goaltender. We didn't try to go out there and get some defense. We didn't go out there and try. And granted, these guys will come sometimes from Wilkes-Barre, and great. Like Brian Rust was an awesome, consistent penalty killer and great guy that we had. Would you have guessed he would be on the top line with Sidney Crosby this long? Probably not.
No.
We knew Gensel was going to be something because he was dominating the AHL. We knew that was going to happen. We didn't know how well in NHL. But what I'm saying is some guys are going to hit in Wilkes-Barre, some guys are going to miss in Wilkes-Barre. That's all I'm going to say there. But with that, I don't know how they're going to respond. Maybe you should go get some guys in the NHL to make sure this team wins the Stanley Cup. So, how about we root for Kyle Dubas? Here's my mentality. Let's root for these guys. But if they fail, hold them accountable. That's all.
Trade them. Cut them.
Trade 'em.
I think that
Cut
is
'em.
perfect, and I think this is the perfect comment to end the episode on. It's totally okay if we don't agree and have different opinions.
You're right.
That's what makes the world go round.
You're absolutely right.
Yay. Let's end
That
on
is
a
true.
high note. Let's end
end on a high note.
on agreeing to disagree.
You're right.
If we
Agree
learned
to disagree?
anything, oh no.
I was
What are you gonna
say
say? Oh, okay. The way
I
you-
was gonna say,
the way
let's
you
agree to
said that,
disagree,
but
but
I'm
I'm right.
I knew it. I knew
It's
it. That's
so
why I was
weird.
trying to cut you off. That's why I was trying to
It's
cut you
so
off.
weird that I've been right about a lot of things. It's just so weird.
Yeah, but
I
no one's perfect.
I will say,
Don't.
I
Here we go.
no. Last thing, you gotta admit, I have been right on a lot of things that a lot of people thought were wrong.
And then the other thing I will say, if freaking Mitch Marner comes here, we want our flowers. We want our freaking flowers.
Josh, I want my flowers, okay? Especially how this episode went. I want you, Josh, to personally text me because I will say,
Well, no,
what is
I
it
was
like?
in agreement with you on Mitch Marner from the jump.
Okay, whose noggin did that come from? Who texted who first? And I
Okay,
said,
fine.
hey, Josh, wouldn't it be great if we got Mitch Marner? And that came months ago when there was a rumor that Mitch Marner is not talking about his contract negotiation. That's all it was. That was the rumor. He's just not having a negotiation. And I was like, Pittsburgh. Josh, Pittsburgh. And Josh was like, oh, yeah, that would be great. So in agreement. I'm not saying Josh didn't agree. He did immediately agree. But baby, if this guy comes to Pittsburgh, Josh, I'm right. That's all.
Even if we have however long his contract is, if we don't win anything, we still want flowers.
No, we're still right about him coming here. If he sucks here, that's a totally different thing. I never said he was going to be like the savior of Pittsburgh.
Look at this guy.
He said 2 years he called Mitch Marner.
Does he have
Dan
receipts?
Kingerski?
Does he have receipts?
Dan Kingerski can suck on these nuts. Okay, buddy? Let's end on these nuts. Perfect. Wait, how did he call it 2 years ago? Didn't he sign his extension 4?
No, I think this would be his second multiple long contract. I think this is his second one.
But wasn't that how long has he been in the league?
A minute.
4 years?
No,
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
he's 27. He's 20. He's 27 or 20. He's in the range of 27, 29. So if he's 28, then
Late
I'm right.
20s, some would say.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
27,
Yep.
Josh.
All right then.
When was his last contract?
But that's what I'm saying. I think he's
Here I'm an
already
idiot.
on.
Like, oh, he's wrapping up his rookie contract.
Ew, no.
A 6-year deal signed in 2019.
2019. So 2 years ago would have been 2022.
Yeah.
So that would have been
end of this year would be the end of his year.
3 years into his contract. Dan Kongursky called this. I don't know, man.
That's
know, man.
bull crapperoonie. He said it in a
don't know.
podcast a couple years ago. Oh, so he's saying in a podcast, oh, I called this years ago. Oh, I could say that all the time. I could say that. Yeah, it's easy to live in the moment and say you recalled something years ago. Dude, when I was, Josh, 5 years old, I knew Sidney Crosby was going to be amazing. Okay? I knew he was in Rimouski, Josh.
You know how many
and I knew we were going to get that.
I mean, like, Crosby was coming out as a freaking generational unicorn. Okay? Yeah. And people are in the comment section of, like, the, all the posts about him breaking the record tonight saying, I knew he was going to be great. And I can't tell if they're joking or if they're being serious. But at the same time, it's like, if they're serious, no duh, dude.
Yeah.
Like what?
He was 12 years old, cameras in his face, like, you're going to be the next Wayne Gretzky. And he was like, I just want to play hockey. And they were like, yeah, not good enough. Give us more, you know?
That's like saying, like, you know, LeBron James, you know, when he was on the cover, he was the cover athlete of Sports Illustrated in like 2002 when he was like a junior in high school. And everyone was like,
I knew it, Josh. I called it.
Yeah,
I told
like
you about that.
It's like people are gonna
I knew about LeBron James.
When
I knew about it. Yeah. I tell Josh, I was driving past Cleveland when I was 10 years old, and I heard about this guy named LeBron James, and I said, remember that name. I told you that. And see that I just pulled a Dan Kongursky. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, the podcasts are so dumb when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, oh, what do you think? I don't know. I was right. I said this when the Penguins beat the Senators in 2007 in 16, in that double overtime. Everyone remembers it. In that moment, Josh, I said Erik Karlsson to the Penguins. I knew it. I called it. I said that. In my euphoria as we went into celebration, Chris Kunitz scoring that goal, I said Erik Karlsson's going to become a Penguin. I knew it. I knew that. I just knew all of that was going to happen.
You also called Anderson going to the Hurricanes. I mean, you called it. Yeah.
I called that. Josh, I even knew that there was going to be a Utah team.
That's right.
In 2011, I said, Josh, you know what'd be crazy? The Thrashers are going away. I don't know if it was 2011. I just picked out a date. It sounds right, though.
NES was there. I remember.
Yeah. I remember saying that. See, thank you, guys. All of a sudden, we are now creating like a fabricated lie. I have 3 people saying, "Oh yeah, actually, you know what? I think you were right." That's the truth. Yeah. Look, NES called Marchand going as a Panther when everyone said you're ridiculous. He just got named captain, which is crazy because he did get just named captain like last year. I knew
Bergeron.
Bergeron.
Retired.
Yeah. What is it? What kind of name is Patrice? What a loser. Anyway.
Wow, just hating on someone's birth name. Jeez.
I'm just kidding. I hear he's a great guy. All I'm saying is I hate when podcasters say like, "Oh, wasn't I saying that?" Like, every podcast on any topic, there's one guy who goes, "Didn't I say that was going to happen, or didn't I say that this was going to?" And I'm like, no, you didn't. Like, you're such a liar. You're such a liar. You could have never predicted. That's like saying, like, hey, when I was in... Josh, we didn't even know about Sidney Crosby. No. Yeah. When we were watching Wilkes-Barre, we didn't know Sidney Crosby. Maybe you did. I mean... I didn't.
Yeah, because Dad put on the draft.
I don't remember. But see,
Dad
yeah, I don't
never
remember
puts on
any
the
of this.
NHL draft, but
So
Dad
maybe
put on
Dad
the NHL
knew,
draft.
but we didn't. Josh, I
Yeah,
didn't know what
that's
the heck
fair.
was going on.
Yeah.
So I don't remember. Honestly, I could tell you I could not care less about the Pittsburgh Penguins until 2009 when they won the Stanley Cup. I don't have
No,
any memory of watching them in
eight.
08. Nope, I have no memory of it. I have no memory of it. I only have a memory of them winning a Stanley Cup in 09.
I remember
And
watching them. Oh, and I remember watching them lose in 08. We were in the Lake Ariel house.
Sure.
And
No,
we
no,
were
I
in
could.
in the den.
Was I there?
Yes, we're in the den. The TV was on. Detroit was skating around with the cup.
Was I throwing things at that time?
No, we
Because
just
I
went
didn't
to bed.
understand. Yeah, I didn't understand.
No,
See,
you weren't like.
I was mad those young years. I was throwing things when we lost.
that's-
Remember the Flyers?
that needs
Remember
to
the
be-
Flyers? What was the... So, really quick story, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay. buckle
So,
in.
So I'm sure you guys could have never guessed that I had some anger issues as a kid. But when when it was the year the Flyers played the Penguins in the first round of the playoffs, and they just tried to kill each other. It was the infamous coaches.
Possible.
Dan Bilesma was trying to fight the coach. Everyone was punching each other. I don't know what year it was. I
don't understand how you fans have this recollection where it's like, oh yeah, the third game of the 2012 Stanley Cup
I
Eastern
couldn't tell you
Conference
the year.
semifinals. Like, what are you talking about?
I couldn't
remember what
tell
I
you
had for
the
breakfast
year.
2 weeks ago.
Josh, I couldn't tell you the year. All I remember is that I was getting so mad because I wanted to punch a Flyer. And I was like, what, 12? I don't remember, like 12,
Probably about right.
12, 13, because in our basement was just the smoothest concrete in the world. And I would have inline, and I would skate while watching the game because I was like, yeah, I'm here. It wasn't Max Talbot. It was like literally, it
Willie's
was like
saying 2012.
2012 maybe.
2012.
It was like puck drop and it was a line brawl, and people were trying to kill each other. This is when Crosby was like with the stick moving Giroux's glove, and he got punched in the mouth. Yeah, 2009 was no, later. This is when Crosby.
2012.
This is when I
fits.
knew Sidney Crosby was who he was.
2012 fits, but you were older. 2012. 2012, you were 15.
Yeah, maybe. I was still mad at that time. I was still throwing stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. 2009, I couldn't tell you Sidney Crosby. I was like, man, that guy's good. But, I wasn't I don't think I could.
Yeah,
I really
think
don't think I could.
I think you were.
Because I was so
2009
focused on
Remember,
Wilkes-Barre.
because remember 2009, we're gonna expose our
age?
ages here if people want to do math. 2009, I was a junior, you were a freshman.
What?
No, you were 8th grade.
Yeah.
8th grade.
No. Yeah, I graduated
Yeah.
in 2013?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What? Time doesn't make
That's
sense.
what- So that's why
Maybe I
when
was
you're
just an... Brandon, shut up. You're Gen Z. This makes so much sense now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. See, Brandon, I've been having this argument with him. He is Gen Z. He thinks he's millennial.
I am
I'm millennial.
No.
No, you're technically the first
Josh,
wave of Gen Z.
Look it up. Guess what year
Yeah,
Gen
95.
Z started? No, 96.
I don't think so.
Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up, Josh. You want to do this?
All right.
When does Gen Z start?
Oh.
1997 to 2012. How about you all just suck it?
Well,
How about
wait,
you all just suck it?
What does the next line say? However,
Start 1997.
no.
End
The-
2000.
The exact dates can be debated.
Anyone born. So I have two things, Josh. I have Google with the AI says is generally defined as those born between 1997 and 2012. Okay. But then I see a link underneath that says 1996. Josh was born in 1995. So
Yeah.
I'm safe. So I am a millennial. I don't give a rip. My wife is a Gen Z. Even though she wants to be a millennial. What month in 1996 was he born? Was I born?
It would be 95,
It would be 95 in March.
and it would be this month of March.
Yeah, so suck it.
In
It wasn't
1995,
like
the year of our
it
Lord.
wasn't like December of 1995, so relax. It was early in the year, so suck it. I know what you're trying to do. You old what was it? What was the Gen Alpha? No, what is it called before millennials? What are they
I want
called?
to say I want to say boomer, but it's not boomer.
It's not boomer. They don't.
What is it?
Gen X?
Gen X.
Yeah, you're a Gen
Gen
X,
X.
dude. I could tell it. I could tell you're a Gen X, dude. Brandon seems like a Gen X to me.
No, he's a millennial.
I'm a millennial. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
Early
you. Yep.
millennial, dude. Early
Yeah.
millennial.
No, because it goes back. I think millennial starts in 80. I think.
Gen
what
X
I
goes
read.
from 1965 to 1980. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's
that's
a
what I'm saying.
long time span.
Millennial is a long time.
Oh, Willie.
Willie's got us beat.
Willie's Gen X,
71.
dude.
Gen
Willie's
X.
Gen X. Yeah. 1980. Oh, so close, dude. I called it.
Ooh.
I called it.
You're almost. What do you mean? Almost.
I
That's
said
8
early.
years.
I said early millennial. First of all, millennials, that is a long
81,
age gap.
81 to 88 is a big gap.
Josh, 81 to 1996?
Yeah.
1996. That's a big
Armand,
gap.
85.
What is up? All right. Armand, first of all, excuse me. You were born 1985. And you're all this
Team
Canada
Canada.
first. Get out of here, dude. Armand is get out of here, dude. How do you I'll never forget the betrayal of you, Armand. All right, anyway. Brandon, you're still still technically on the back half. Yeah, I don't give a rip. It's not about me right now, it's about you. And yes,
81.
it depends when.
Gen
9/11.
Z.
Rough year,
Gen
dude.
Z. 9/11.
Even though I was 6.
Oh my gosh.
See, I think I just have a bad memory, which I think both our wives have agreed that we have bad memories.
No, I have amazing memory. I don't know
I
what you're talking about.
Actually, I don't think you do.
Actually, I do.
Yeah. I forget my.
But
whole
feel
entire
free to test me anytime. I got you.
I honestly I don't know what I did in my childhood. Abby thought something traumatic happened to me.
See, I can do personal memory. It's like what I was referring to, like these fans that are like, oh yeah, in the 04 Olympics, the third round of USA
the
versus
second period. I think
Yeah,
there was
it's
a
like,
timeout. I was like, "What are you
stop
talking about,
it.
dude?"
Stop it. No,
But
you're
you know
not
what's crazy?
human.
But first of all, Pens fans were like, "Remember at the beginning of the season we played against Tampa?" I was like, "No, I could not
Yeah.
tell you this."
Yeah.
season.
Oh, yeah. I know. We do this every game, and people are like, "Remember that game?" Like when we were talking to Jay, and he was like, "Remember the game against?" He referenced a game in like November, and
and I was like,
I'm like, Jay,
dude.
I don't remember 2 weeks ago, bro. Like,
"Dude, you
there's
could've
no
told me
shot.
this game happened last week, and I wouldn't.
Yeah.
understand.
The
I
the
wouldn't.
way that those guys, like the players, the broadcasters, like the reporters, the way they remember the games are crazy. Like
It
I
is
don't know.
wild. I just don't know how they do it. I don't know. Oh, NES. I'm sorry.
Whoa,
Heavy on the
that
information
is heavy there, man.
Which we're sorry for that.
Sorry. Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh, you lost your dad so young.
Yeah. And on
Oh.
such a
So wait,
like on a
80
holiday.
So
Sucks.
about 14. Oh man.
Oh man, that stinks. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, tough transition from that. but-
Jeez. Yeah. Where do we go from here?
Sorry. NES.
And then Willie
Uh,
just drops
just
in
said
the old
He's old.
timepiece.
Yeah. Saying he's old.
We're all dust in the wind.
Mhm. This is just a random thing, Josh, but I had a worker. He comes in and we kind of do a morning stand up, and he was telling me that
Pledge of Allegiance. Is that what you do? Morning stand up.
no, Josh,
Pledge of
actually, if you're actually in a workplace, a stand up is actually a very common thing. So how about you go suck it, okay?
What is a stand up? What are we talking
Stand-up-
about?
It's a quick meeting.
Who does these?
You've never heard of a stand up in the morning?
No. And I would love to know if anyone else in the chat does a morning
a stand-up.
stand up.
Yeah, that's what we called it.
What? How about the drive-in?
No, it's not a comedian. It's not a comic act. All right, millennial. It's not. No. So in design, my first design job in Florida, we would have a stand up.
Oh, okay. For like an art job, yeah, I get it.
What do you mean?
But, like,
it
you
has nothing to do with what we're doing.
Okay,
It's just
what I'm telling you is you're not going to see a bunch of like well, maybe actually, yeah, you do see a
actually
bunch of
yes.
doctors. Okay, but what about what?
Huddle.
Okay,
Yep.
whatever. Okay, but you don't see a bunch of like.
No,
like, I'm
Josh.
trying to
All right,
think-
for you work in a law office, okay?
Yeah.
We
Perfect
would
example. We don't do it.
Okay, so what I would say if I was like the boss, I would say we have a stand up in the morning, where we just come together and go, what are we working on? Okay, do you need any help with that? Cool. Are we good with that? Great. Are we cool? Cool.
That's
Done.
a lot of micromanaging, if you ask me.
How's that micromanaging? It's literally just saying like, do you need help with anything that you're working on? No? Okay, great. Go for it.
If you need help, ask for help when you need help. Why are we having a meeting every day to decide if you need help?
Yeah, well, in the world of design, it's kind of like we have an end. We have like a due dates.
Yeah,
So do
I
you,
have due
so I'm
dates.
surprised.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
So it's kind of like, hey, I don't know why I'm doing this, but the Johnson and Johnson merger, Josh, do you need any help with that? You're like, no, I got it. Cool. Ask if you need help. Let me know if you need anything on that. How's that micromanaging? Micromanaging would be like, hey, Josh, tell us exactly what you're doing on the Johnson and Johnson merger. I want to hear it. That's micromanaging.
Well, that's essentially what he's doing is asking for an update on the merger every
Sure.
every day.
Well,
That's
usually
crazy.
you're working on multiple projects, so
Yeah,
I'm sure you're
yeah.
working on other things besides just the Johnson
Correct.
and Johnson merger. So
Correct.
So if today, Josh, it's Thursday, I go, hey, the weekend's almost up. How everything good on the Johnson Johnson merger? Great, cool. Will I ask about anything else? Probably not. Let's go to the other people. How are you all doing? Great, cool. All right, cool. Just don't forget, Monday is Veterans Day. We have it off. Just want to let you know. Boom, done. That's it. That's a stand-up. It's super quick.
Those could be emails, which
All
they
right,
are
Josh.
in my office. It's hey, how's
Josh, it
can-
builds a
can
little
I
bit
get
of
an update?
camaraderie.
Can I get
It
an
builds a
update
little bit
on
of
Johnson
camaraderie.
and Johnson? And it's like, yeah, here you go. This is where we're at. Bing, bong, boom, bam. I'm good to go. And then they're like, okay. And then it's Friday. We're ready to leave. Hey, by the way, don't forget, don't come in on Monday. We're closed. Oh, yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
But see, we would have already covered that in the stand-up, which you would have been fine. Why is your work not done? Because of these dang stand-ups, dude. First of all, you do it literally at the start of the workday, so
Thank you,
everyone
Willie.
relax, dude. Everyone relax. You guys are acting like I'm saying, get out of your offices. I need to speak to you right now.
Oh.
It's so lighthearted and it's so quick. You guys are ridiculous. You do stand-ups, you just see how everyone's doing, see how you can help. Move on. Especially in a team environment. I'm surprised you guys don't do that. Because you have people who you rely on in your office.
Yeah. And literally, if you need help,
Josh,
you
tell
literally
me how many times one of the lawyers will go do something like, oh, I didn't know he was doing that.
I don't know what you mean by doing that. Like, I didn't know he was doing.
Maybe he was out of office. Maybe he was doing something. Or maybe he was going to go meet that person. Or maybe he was going to go meet someone or have a meeting regarding something situations. Wouldn't you be like, oh, cool.
No, it's usually on the calendar. And if it's not, it's a personal matter. So we don't ask questions.
Yeah, if it's a personal matter, Josh, of course.
Yeah. So then, yeah,
On the
just
calendar?
check the calendar. You're
Or-
starting to sound like a
Do stand-up, Josh.
General
Like,
Z.
stop.
You're starting to sound like a Gen
Gen
X,
Z?
whatever.
No, a Gen X would be like, hey, I just, I texted you, our schedule or whatever. I texted you the calendar. That's what a Gen X would do.
Yeah, and
Hey,
I guess
sent you a TikTok?
I guess I work with
You work with old?
well,
No, not
I-
anymore.
no, I got 2 millennials with me. We're in office. Well, yeah, we got
Early
3
millennials?
millennials. No, because Matt's between us. He's between
Yeah,
our
Josh,
ages.
tell us everyone who you work with and their names and ages.
Date of births, socials.
Yeah, date of birth, all of it. Tell us. Anyway,
Yeah,
can I go back to
But
my
the-
story?
but the boomer is very much so. Just check the calendar. Just check the calendar.
That's a boomer thing.
yeah.
Check the calendar. Yeah.
But I agree with that mentality. Like, what's the point? What's the point of having this huddle?
Cohesion.
So you guys don't talk at all throughout the day. Like,
So
you
for
talk
church,
you talk in the
do you have
beginning,
a huddle
and then that's
before
it.
church? Do you have a huddle before church?
More of like a
That's
a
weird.
prayer meeting, not so much
Nope,
of
that's
like
weird.
a huddle. No, not so much like a, okay, this is how the order of service is going to go today, and this is, the
how
timing
you
of
think
how
I
I would
talk?
like everything. No, I'm just saying that's not how the Sunday huddles go. It's literally, hey guys, thanks. Like, it's usually just the volunteers for that week. It's like, thanks for
Right.
volunteering. Thanks for volunteering this week. Let's pray, and then let's.
And let me guess,
then-
if there was if it was a special service, and there was like a little announcement, or maybe hey, just want to let you know we're doing this today, so just keep in mind, let's be intentional about this. So you're saying that's not a stand-up, because that's exactly what I did.
Okay, but that's different because that's a special thing. That's a
Yeah, but
you,
you
so
do
you
it- but-
need
but hold on,
you
hold on,
need
but
the
you-
instructions.
Regardless, you meet every single Sunday. All the helpers, right? The volunteers
Yeah,
to go over prayer or whatever.
just pray.
Yeah,
That's it.
But if there was something that needed to be said, it would have been said at that time, correct?
Okay, but the difference is that is a once a week thing that you don't
Sure.
know, that you may not know if there's a
Right.
special guest or whatever that day. So you need that. Okay,
Sure.
with work,
I'm not saying the huddle had to
There's-
be every single day, but
there's an
it needs to be
expectation
happen
here.
a couple times.
yeah.
What do we talk? Oh, Ben coming in about
Ben.
church stuff. So what I'm saying is, do you have like a morning huddle, or we don't call them stand-ups at church. We call them a huddle at church. But
Okay.
but my design job, we would have just a morning stand-up of like, hey, what's going on? Do we need any help? What do we need to do? Stuff like that. And we'd be like, this is what we need. This is what, okay, great.
Sounds pointless.
Josh, you're pointless. But anyway, I say it's helpful because at least everyone on the team knows what's going on. So rather than you not knowing and Jessica comes up to you and says this, and you're like, oh, well, I didn't know you were working on that. Well, guess what? Because of the stand-up, you knew what she was working on, and you could have been yeah, of course.
But why do I need to know what she's working on?
Josh, because, I think the design world is different than the lawyer world. Because
I think so.
Design world, some people are like, hey, do you have those assets? And I'd be like, yeah. Oh, you're working on that graphic? Sure. I can help you with that.
Okay, perfect. But that doesn't sound like that needs to be involved in a huddle in any way, shape, or form. That sounds like my workplace.
That
where it was
conversation is not the huddle.
That's what I'm saying. That's how my office works.
I feel like you're overcomplicating it.
I need
You're
X, Y, and Z.
overcomplicating
Oh yeah,
what I'm saying.
I got that. Here you go. That's helping. I don't need a huddle.
You're still overcomplicating this whole stand-up thing. I found it to be very fruitful because we're all on the same page and we all know what we're doing. Gosh. Anyway,
Me
can
too,
I go
Willie.
back to the reason why I brought this up? Sweet
Do your story.
goodness.
Do your story.
It all goes back to what NES said. Because he was telling me he went to a funeral and he just sat there in silence. And I was like, don't know how to transition out of this. And I had to call it out because I had to tell him what to do that day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry. Now we got to talk about work. And it's just like, I felt really bad because, Josh, the point of these, all right, whatever, Ben. So, I feel like IT guys don't want to talk to anyone anyway. So they would never do that.
That's fair too.
They would never want to talk to you because they were like, if there's a problem, contact me. If not,
leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
I feel that.
Every
That's actually
IT
how
guy
I feel
I've
with my
talked to.
job too.
Yeah, see, this is why you wouldn't thrive in a place where we would have stand-ups. So anyway, he would say like, oh, I went to a funeral. It was his wife's mom's funeral. And I was just like,
So his
like,
mother-in-law?
yeah, Josh. Glad you put that together. Proud of you.
I mean,
all I'm
that's
saying,
just simpler.
Because it's not technically his wife. It's a thing. Anyway, yeah, I don't need to get into what's going on there. I was just trying to figure it out for the story, but Josh had to interrupt. Anyway, so his mother-in-law passed away. And I was just like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And he was telling me about the funeral. And I was like, yeah, like, I understand. It's always hard. And I was being genuine. But then when I have to like brief you on what we're doing today. And I'm just kind of like, how do I transition out of that? So, because you only can apologize, like, and send, like, give your condolences so many times. And then it's just kind of like,
yeah, and see, that's a good reason why those things aren't good.
Stand-ups.
Because
it's just me and him. Relax. There's no one else in the room.
I'm just saying.
But
Ben, I was thinking.
Did she have a moment? Oh gosh. She literally said, "The Pittsburgh Penguins. I wish I had someone to give me my last rites." That's what she said. Anyway. Yeah, so
That's
anyway, I thought it was so funny.
I'm gonna live that forever.
That was so good. But
yeah, Willie, that's what water coolers are for.
Yeah, what do you guys think this is? Like a 1980s office space? Abby works, my wife, works at a design studio in Pittsburgh. And it's just, Josh has been there when we did our photo shoot.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's just a space.
Open space.
And they're all in the same room.
Six computers.
Yeah.
Right there. No. Mm-mm.
Now, granted, remember, these stand-ups that I'm all in for, all in voting for, they don't happen like every day if it's unnecessary. You know, because if we're
Sounds
all
like it's always
working on
unnecessary.
Josh, that's like someone saying, "Look at the calendar every morning." It's like there's nothing on the calendar, so you wouldn't refer to the
we
calendar.
we don't have any appointments today.
Great,
All
then we
right,
wouldn't have a stand up, Josh. We wouldn't have a stand up. That's what I'm saying. If you work on something and say, "Hey, are we still working on the Johnson and Johnson merger?" and we're all like, "Yeah, we're all hands on deck." Like, great. If there's anything, let us know. So the next day, we won't meet because we're all working on the Johnson and Johnson merger, Josh.
Got it.
I feel like you guys are just overcomplicating things, which would explain a lot of the comments in the chat.
I feel like you are.
Honestly, it's more simple when people go, "Oh, what are you working on?" This, and they're like, "Cool. If there's anything, just let me know."
Why do people need to know what we're working on?
Hey, Josh, maybe because when you're trying to run a business, you like to know what's happening in your business.
No, I get that, but like everyone was given an assignment. So obviously the bosses know what we're working on, but I don't need to know what Jessica is working on. Jessica doesn't need to know what I'm working on.
You know what you should bring to the table next meeting? Next Monday? Why? What's next Monday? What's happening? Instead of a stand-up. Okay.
Just to sit down.
Stand up. Great way to conserve energy for the workday. Funny enough, dude, we are sitting down when we do a stand-up. It's just what it's called. Can everyone relax? Everyone... The MDR team have desks right next to each other, and that works well.
MDR.
What's MDR?
Is he trying to say media? What's MDR, Ben? MDR.
Hey, what is MDR?
Medicine doctor?
Maybe the M's supposed to be there. Maybe the doctor team.
Doctor?
That doesn't sound right.
that doesn't. Because it's the same thing even if you go MD. The MD team.
Yeah. Well, actually, the MD team would make more sense than the doctor team.
I think he's trying to say media team because like our...
do you guys have media?
Same thing. Same thing as you.
No Severance fans. No. Oh my gosh.
No.
Okay. Can I talk about this? I've never seen Josh, we've been talking about stand-ups for 20 minutes, and that's because of you. I was trying to tell
40 minutes ago.
Shut up. Macro data refinement. Okay, anyway.
Manage detection and response.
It depends when it gets wrong. Anyway, I've seen so many ads and so many people talk about their innies and their outies on Instagram.
Like their buzz buttons?
It's a Severance thing, and
and
I'm just like, is the show this good? Because I've never seen this many people like refer to a show, except for like Breaking Bad when Vine was a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So here's my take on Severance. I haven't seen a second of it. Okay,
Google search.
I have seen other current shows that are out right now, and they're trash.
What show is trash in your eyes? Give us.
I don't know. Like,
show's
just
so good.
Thinking of like just shows that are like popular right now, like Abbott Elementary.
Not a big fan.
Not a
It's
fan.
an Office knockoff.
Yeah, no, but there's a lot of shows like that where they're just like knockoffs of other shows. Like what is that cop one? Trent or something like that. I don't know.
There's Cable. Josh,
that's what I'm
saying. Squad on Cable.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the shows right now that are out that are like being aired are trash. So because Severance is out right now, everyone's like, oh, Severance. I don't know if it is actually good or if it's the only good show that's out right now. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, you had banger after banger after banger, and you had to pick one to watch. Like you had
Tires.
you had to pick if you were going to watch The Office or The Big Bang Theory or or How I Met Your Mother or New Girl. You had to pick one. You couldn't watch them all because they were all on almost at the same time. And now I feel like Severance
Josh,
is the
go on
only
your
one that's
old
on right now.
go on your old man rant about how there's too many streaming platforms.
There's way too many streaming platforms, okay? Way too many.
And this is why you want to survive in a stand-up meeting, Josh.
Way too many. Because first of all, it's not fair that I will not be able to watch Severance unless if I pay for Apple TV, which is so dumb.
First of all, Apple TV sucks, dude.
Yes. So I cannot bank on this maybe good TV show and pay for it. If it's not on the stuff that I'm already paying for, that I'm banking on, like Netflix has a track record of producing good content and keeps good content on there. Okay? And I don't mean just their production. I just mean like in terms of uploading stuff. I mean like they put some good movies on there. But
What's the last good show?
if I know that's good, so I will watch it.
What is it?
Can't Netflix.
Oh.
Apple TV, it's hit or miss. I wasn't a huge fan of Ted Lasso. Did it have good moments? Yes.
Ted Lasso is good.
Granted, I didn't finish past season 1, but I did not really enjoy season 1. So I wasn't going to hang on to Apple TV. And that's what I did to Depends When. I binged season 1 and then I canceled it because I was like, I'm not sold on it. Everyone was telling me you're going to love Ted Lasso. Wasn't a big fan. So canceled it. Louie, graciously, he does Disney TV, Disney Plus for us. So I do Netflix, he does Disney Plus, and that's the trade-off so that we don't have to buy multiple streaming services. But it is getting ridiculous, and it is the prices that they are charging for it now is astronomical. It makes no sense whatsoever.
First of all, hold on. A lot of things I heard while I was peeing. Okay, can I?
I said like 2 things.
First of all, it's called Disney Plus. Old man, it's not called Disney TV. Second of all,
I had Apple TV stuck in my head.
Second of all, you don't pay for Netflix because you can't share passwords anymore. So I'm the only one sharing Disney Plus.
No, but I do, but I pay for Netflix, and whenever
but I can't access it.
You just let me know. I'll send you the code.
No, they don't do that anymore.
Yes, they do. You update it literally says update household. You click update household and then it gets sent, I think it's to one of my emails, and then I just click okay. So. Yeah. Try it.
Because we pay for our own Netflix because we shared with Dad.
Oh, what do you No, you were sharing with me. You were sharing with me.
Okay. We couldn't access it.
Why?
We couldn't. I don't know.
See, Dad and I go back and forth all the time.
No,
and Jen.
Can't do it. So we tried to, and then it just never worked. So we were like, this is useless. Let's just pay for Netflix. So I pay for Netflix, pay for Disney Plus, and I upgraded Disney Plus like by $4 to get Hulu.
But see, again, like, so let me guess. You did not do the bare minimum for Netflix. You did the middle option.
No, bare minimum.
Oh, okay. So $8 with commercials. Yeah. You're cool with the commercials? Nice.
Okay, so nope, I pay middle because that's
what I thought. So you're at 15. 15?
Yes, so I guess so. I didn't know there was an $8 option, Josh. That's new.
Yeah.
To me.
The bare minimum option is like $8, but they now introduce commercials. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So $15 a month. Disney Plus is like $15. that's $30 right there just for. You want to get in on this sharing?
Yeah, we'll share
sharing
it.
networks.
Andor season 2 is coming out soon. Couldn't get into it. Couldn't get into Andor. I know it's the rebellion.
I want to
dark
watch
side of Star Wars, but
I want to watch.
Daredevil, because I've been
Daredevil.
watching that.
Yeah,
It's good. Here's the thing I hate about these new Disney shows, Josh. Filler episodes. Gosh, you only have 9 episodes. You can't be creative with all 9. Do you know what I'm saying?
You don't have to make it 9. That's my thing. Don't make it 9.
Or don't make it 9.
Make it 6.
But I hate. Or just do a movie, because by the time you add up all the hours, it's the same. It's just, it's great. It's great. Don't get me wrong.
They don't want
Charlie
another
Cox.
Cinderella.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Weird.
That is
weird.
She sucks. Okay.
She's annoying. She's annoying.
She's just so annoying.
Political
First of
stuff
all,
aside, she's annoying.
No. Take all the political stuff out. First of all, like, seriously, take all the political stuff out. Why did they cast her? Second of all, why, if you're going to change the story of Snow White, don't call it Snow White. Like, Snow White was a chick who ate an apple and she was asleep. True Love's kiss only could wake her up. It's a tale as old as time. And they were like, no,
Sleeping
she's
Beauty.
a leader.
That's Sleeping Beauty.
Oh wait, no. What did Snow White do? Wasn't
It's
she?
Sunday.
Wait.
Good night, Ben.
See at the stand. Ben's on board. We call it a huddle at church.
I will be there. I'm running sound on Sunday, actually.
Yeah.
Get ready
So if
for a
there's
ton
any-
of feedback.
If there's anything that's going on Sunday, Ben will say, "Hey, we're doing this," and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I get why we do huddles." Anyway, what's Snow White? She has the dwarves, but what's her
Correct.
story? But doesn't this? But hold on. But wait, doesn't that a guy kisses her to wake her up though? She falls asleep.
Isn't
No,
that Sleeping Beauty? That was Sleeping Beauty, not Snow White. Are they one and the same?
are they the same?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're the same.
They're the same? Okay. So they're the same.
Nope. I don't buy that. Quick premise.
Did the Pens win? It has really bad reviews because it is... we're trying to take the politics out of it, but they put the politics into it. And apparently it's very woke. Because...
Yeah, no, we're right. The jealous queen, fearing for her stepdaughter Snow White's beauty, attempts to kill her.
That's
right?
another thing, too. Why would you have Gail
Escapes.
Gadot as the evil queen?
She's better looking
She's more
than the
beautiful
Snow White.
than
Anyway.
Snow White. Yeah.
But Snow White escapes and finds refuge with the 7 dwarves, eventually falling victim to the queen's poisoned apple.
Yeah.
And then that's when the prince kisses her, and he's like, "You're better now because I'm a doctor."
And Ben's right.
Like,
Gal Gadot, horrible actress.
no,
But
apparently she did terrible in this movie. Like,
have
worse
you
than
ever
all.
seen? I was
Oh,
gonna say
she's
in any of her
terrible.
movies. Yeah.
Listen. All
Wonder
I'm saying,
Woman
yeah.
was horrible.
Oh
Like,
yeah, the
I couldn't-
1989. Even Pedro
God.
Pascal sucked in that movie. I actually
I didn't see
hated
that
him
one.
more.
It was I just watched the original
That was the second
Wonder
one.
Woman.
Yeah, the second
the
one
first one.
made no sense.
I couldn't bear. Gal Gadot was so horrible in that. Like she is a bad actress.
She's a bad
So
actress.
bad.
Now, a good actress is the weird girl.
Rachel Ziegler, I think is her name.
Ziegler.
Ziegler.
She's
is
a
her
good
last name,
actress. She's a good actress. Take away all
She's a good
her
singer
horrible
too. Yeah.
Yeah, her personality. Take her personality away. Good actress. Right? Terrible, dude. Terrible. I know the main girl from the new Hunger Games. There's a new Hunger Games?
Wait,
You
like
mean
you know her
Jennifer Lawrence?
personally? How does that happen?
You know Jennifer Lawrence? But he said the new Hunger Games.
I didn't know there's a new one.
They're already remaking it, dude. That's
Or they're extending
stupid.
it. Extending it. Keep it going.
How many Hunger Games can you do?
Hunger Games 132.
It's like Madden. It's like, oh, it's
Oh,
the same one as last year.
you know what I just watched? Transformers 1.
Oh, with the dude from Hamilton, where he becomes a robot.
Idea. No
No,
idea.
the guy-
They're all robots.
No, but the main dude becomes like
Main
it's a
dude
human.
is they're not
Spanish guy.
humans. They're not humans.
Which one are you talking about?
Transformers 1, they're all robots. It's the animated robot one. Transformers.
Oh, the one with Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth, that's his name, yeah.
Yeah, but there was another Transformers with usually, like, you know how they have the guy? They always have the sidekick guy, the human. Like, it was Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, yeah.
And then Mark Wahlberg, and then the Spanish guy from Hamilton.
I didn't see
the
Hamilton,
musical.
so I don't know.
He became a robot, and I was like, this is
Wait,
so
the
dumb.
human becomes a robot?
Yeah, he just basically looks like he looks like Iron Man at the end of it. And then
Yeah.
He's not like, he didn't become, but they give him armor, transformable armor, and I was just like, this is dumb.
That's weird. But have
she
you
was
seen
in that one? Songbirds and Snakes.
Have you seen the Transformers one?
No, I heard it was good.
It's not bad. I actually like the story. Like, the story is like how they became Optimus Prime and Megatron. It's pretty good.
I heard they were buddies.
Correct.
It was kind of like the Mormon take on Jesus and Satan, Josh.
I don't know the Mormon take on it, so I don't know. I can't.
Jesus and Satan were brothers, and they had a duel, and obviously one became Jesus and one became Satan.
Yes and
So was it
no.
like that?
Kind of, yeah. They're buddies, and then something happens, and
He betrays
one
him,
gets
and he's
one gets super angry about what happened, and one,
the
said,
story
"Well,
isn't new." Oh, gosh, I hate that. Give me something new.
well, but that is the story of Transformers, though.
No, it's not.
It is.
They were never buddies. They were on opposite sides of a very intense debate on whatever the cube, that thing.
Well,
did
that's
they
the thing. There is no, there is no cube in this
what
one.
was their planet though?
Um,
Orbitron or something like that.
Yeah.
It's something like that. Some
But
Tron.
that's what I like, the like subtle humor in this one, because Keegan Michael
Peel or whatever.
Peel, yeah, that guy. He's in it, and he's Bumblebee. So,
Oh, nice.
like, he has a
Bumblebee Panther.
nickname for him. He has a nickname for himself called Bad A-Tron. But like every time he says it, he does it in that voice. Like,
Oh yeah.
Ultron. Like, it just like,
Yeah. Oh,
so-
Ultron. That's what it is. No, you're
is
right.
it
It's Ultron. It's Ultron. Yeah.
I thought he
where
was one of the robots. So.
Fun fact: did you know that Optimus Prime in the Shia LaBeouf series is the same voice actor that does Winnie the Pooh? Wow.
Nice.
Anyway,
The range on that guy.
I know. Yeah.
But they ended Transformers 1 kind of like the first Transformers. This message
where'd
goes
they
out.
go? Yeah.
Yeah.
My
The-
name
but it-
is Optimus Prime.
Yeah, and that's how it ended, because the entire movie, they're like bots, so they're like
Yeah,
they're
Josh.
letters
Autobots.
and numbers. no, but they're like literally like bots with just like the function to mine minerals. So they're literally just numbers and letters. So like you kind of know who's going to end up who, because Optimus
Let me guess,
Prime.
Like BB is Bumblebee.
Correct.
That's,
Yeah.
So they stole that thing from Star Wars.
So
or
it's
Finn.
like OP like 17 was Optimus
But why would he
Prime.
be OP? Because isn't Optimus Prime a title, Josh? Come on, get your Transformers lore correct. Optimus Prime is
No, but
a title.
It was good. I don't know if it was actually
Get out of here. They
Liam
don't know
Hemsworth
anything.
at the end doing the voiceover, because it sounded really close to the guy from like the first Transformers. He was like super deep.
Well, I'm sure auto-tune was a part of it. I'm sure they didn't just go, Chris Hemsworth, do what you want. I'm sure there's auto-tune. Anyway, how do we get talking about this? The whole debate, Josh, was on Ultron because the planet was dying, Josh, because apparently they mined minerals. Okay? They mined minerals. And one said, we need to, destroy life. Is it a Thanos thing? I think it was. We need to kill half the people to maintain life on Ultron. And Optimus Prime was like, no, dude, all life is sacred. What? What?
Can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can you hear me now?
but I can't hear you. I can see your head moving.
Oh, Josh, because you took your AirPods out.
Do you want to just end it?
Yeah, because we're going 2 hours and 10 minutes. Here's the thing. All right, Josh can't hear me. But here's what I'll tell you for those of you who are still hanging on. The three of you that are still hanging on.
I'm trying to read your lips. I'm failing.
We will not upload this episode.
Something about an episode. Huh?
Yeah. We will not.
No episode next game?
Upload. No upload.
Upload.
This episode.
You're not uploading this episode. Okay. Sounds like.
It's a what am I doing?
What are we doing?
What is it? A movie.
Movie. No, we're not doing charades. Stop.
2 words.
No, 2 words. Good night. Hand washing. Two words. Second word? Second word. First word. What are we doing here? First word. 2 words. Second word. Penguins. First word. Penguins first. Penguins won. What? First word? Just one word. One word.
Second word. Second word.
Second word.
1.
One?
First word.
One word. First word.
Yes.
Okay, first word. Hold hands. Team. Handshake.
I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do transform.
Soap.
Oh.
Washing. Washing one.
It like this.
Together
then-
one. Intertwine one. Locking system one. Hand one. Pray one.
Transform. What?
Oh, transform. I thought we were completely off at the Transformers, so I
The
wasn't.
Transformers. This was my Transformer. That was my Transformers. Yeah, yeah. That was my Transformer.
All right.
All right.
Let's-
Thanks, guys, so much for
let's try
watching
to
this. This
wrap
was
this
a
up
wild
through charades.
episode. We're done. We're not going to upload this episode just because it was just me ranting, and also the Penguins lost, and it wasn't really entertaining. We will have a weekly episode where we kind of dive in with Sidney Crosby's 20-point per game season, so stay tuned for that. But, we'll have a stand-up where we go over all our episodes. But, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. We'll see you in the next one. And, as always, let's go.
Let's go, Pens.